Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be exploring something.
Yeah,
It's essential to life.
right.
Water.
Water. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're going beyond just like the everyday,
Right.
things we all know about water.
Yeah.
We're going deep into like both the scientific
Yeah.
and spiritual significance of water,
I think that's a great approach.
using the Quran as our guide,
Yeah,
alongside some fascinating scientific research.
absolutely.
So get ready for some aha moments, because
Yeah.
there's more to water than meets the eye.
It's true. We often take it for granted,
Right.
but it really is when you start to peel back the layers
Yeah.
and see how deeply it's woven into like the
Look.
fabric of our existence.
Yeah.
It's awe-inspiring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of awe-inspiring,
Yeah.
let's start with how the Quran views water.
Okay.
It's described as like a divine blessing, a foundation of creation,
Yeah.
a symbol of Allah's mercy and power.
Yes, and those ideas, they're not just poetic flourishes.
Right.
They encourage a deep reflection, I think,
Yeah.
on water's role in both the physical and spiritual realms. For instance, Surah Al-Anbiya 21.3c states, "And we made from water every living thing."
Wow.
That's not just a statement.
Right.
It points to water as like the very essence of life itself.
It really puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We know we need water to survive.
Yeah.
But to think of it as like the building block of every living thing
Yeah.
is pretty profound.
Exactly. And the Quran doesn't stop there.
Right.
Surah Az-Zumar 39.21
Okay.
describes how rain revives barren lands, bringing forth a spectrum of colors in the form of crops.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful way of showcasing water's ability
Yeah.
to transform and rejuvenate.
Like a painter's palette.
Yes.
Coming to life. All thanks to water.
And then there's Surah Al-Anfal 8.11,
Okay.
which connects water to purification, both
Yeah.
physically and spiritually.
Right.
This resonates with practices like wudu and ghusl,
Uh-huh.
where water is used for cleansing before prayer.
That connection between physical and spiritual cleansing is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like the act of washing becomes a ritual that cleanses not just the body, but also the soul.
And that concept of purification ties into some pretty interesting psychological and societal aspects as well.
Okay.
Think about it. Cleanliness is often associated with
Right.
godliness, purity, and even social acceptance across many cultures.
That's a great point. It makes you wonder how
It's
those cultural norms developed and how they've influenced our relationship with water over time.
definitely something to ponder.
Right.
But moving on from the spiritual side,
Okay.
let's dive into the science of what makes water.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
I know the basic formula is H2O,
Right.
but what is it about that structure that makes water so special?
It's all about the arrangement of those atoms. The way the two hydrogen atoms bond to the oxygen atom creates a molecule with a slight positive charge on one end and a slight negative charge on the other.
Oh.
This is what we call polarity.
Okay.
And it's the key to water's incredible properties.
So polarity is what makes water such a good solvent, right?
Yes.
We hear that phrase universal solvent thrown around a lot.
Right.
But what does it actually mean?
It means that water can dissolve more substances than almost any other liquid.
Wow.
And that's crucial for life as we know it.
Okay.
Think about how nutrients are transported throughout your body or how cells communicate with each other.
Right.
These processes wouldn't be possible without water's ability to dissolve and carry various molecules.
It's like water is the ultimate delivery system for life.
Exactly. And it goes even deeper than that.
Okay.
Because water is so good at dissolving things,
Yeah.
it facilitates countless chemical reactions that are essential for life.
Right.
It's the stage on which the play of life unfolds, so to speak.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not just about transporting things. It's about creating the right environment for the chemistry of life to happen.
Precisely.
Wow.
And then there's water's high specific heat capacity.
Okay.
This means it takes a lot of energy to raise the temperature of water, which helps regulate temperatures on Earth.
It's like a giant buffer against extreme temperature swings, right?
Sure, exactly. Think about the oceans. They absorb huge amounts of heat from the sun,
Right.
preventing the planet from overheating.
Yeah.
And because water can hold on to that heat for a long time,
Right.
it also helps to moderate temperatures in coastal areas.
Uh-huh.
If water didn't have this property,
Right.
Earth would be a much more volatile place.
Yeah.
With scorching deserts and freezing wastelands.
It's like a global thermostat keeping things everything's in balance.
A very apt description.
Right.
And that's not all.
Okay.
Water also exhibits some unusual behavior when it freezes, which has profound implications for aquatic life.
Right. I remember learning that ice floats.
Yeah.
But why is that so significant?
Well, most substances become denser when they freeze,
Right.
meaning the solid form sinks to the bottom.
Okay.
But water is different.
Okay.
It actually expands when it freezes, making ice less dense than liquid water.
So instead of freezing from the bottom up,
Yeah.
bodies of water freeze from the top down.
Exactly.
That's what allows fish and other aquatic life to survive in the winter.
Exactly. Imagine if lakes and oceans froze solid from the bottom up.
Oh, wow.
It would be devastating for entire ecosystems.
Yeah.
This seemingly simple quirk of water
Right.
is what allows life to thrive beneath the surface,
Yeah.
even in freezing conditions.
It's amazing how such a small difference in density can have such huge consequences for the natural world.
It really highlights the delicate balance that exists in nature.
Right?
And these are just a few examples of how water's unique properties make it so essential for life.
So we've got water acting as a solvent,
Mm-hmm.
a temperature regulator,
Yeah.
and even a protector of aquatic life.
Right.
It's like a superhero with multiple superpowers.
And we haven't even touched on its role in shaping the planet itself.
Oh, right.
We'll delve into that in part 2 of our deep dive.
I'm already hooked.
Good.
But before we move on, I'm curious about something.
Okay.
We talked about how water is a good solvent,
Yeah.
but I remember hearing that not everything dissolves in water.
That's true. Water is a polar molecule,
Right.
meaning it has a positive and negative end.
Uh-huh.
So it's really good at dissolving other polar molecules,
Okay.
like salts and sugars.
Right.
But it's not so good at dissolving non-polar molecules,
Okay.
like fats and oils.
That explains why oil and water don't mix.
Precisely, the non-polar molecules are more attracted to each other than they are to the polar water molecules, so they
Okay.
tend to clump together instead of dissolving.
That makes sense. So
Yeah.
even though water is a powerful solvent, it has its limits.
It does, but those limitations are part of what makes it so special.
Right.
They contribute to the diversity and complexity of the natural world.
This has been incredibly enlightening already.
Good.
I feel like I'm seeing water in a whole new light.
That's what we're here for, to
Yeah.
help you see the familiar with fresh eyes
Mm-hmm.
and appreciate the wonders that are often hidden in plain sight.
And speaking of wonders, you mentioned water's role in shaping the planet.
Yes.
That's where we'll pick up in part 2.
Okay, sounds good.
I can't wait to hear more about how this incredible substance
Yeah.
has shaped the landscapes we see today.
Okay, great. So welcome back.
It's amazing how much we've already uncovered about water,
Right.
from its molecular structure
Yeah.
to its role as a universal solvent.
Mm-hmm.
And last time you hinted at
Yeah.
water's power to shape the planet.
Right.
That's what I'm really eager to dive into today.
Well, get ready to be amazed because
All right.
water is truly a sculptor on a grand scale. Over millions of years, it's been carving, shaping, and reshaping the Earth's surface,
Right on.
creating the diverse landscapes we see today.
So how does that actually work?
Okay.
What are the processes involved?
There are a few key players.
Okay.
Erosion deposition
Mm-hmm.
and freezing and thawing.
Okay.
Erosion is the gradual wearing away of rock and soil
Right.
by the force of moving water.
Okay.
Freshers, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
carve out valleys and canyons over time,
Right.
carrying sediment downstream.
Like the Grand Canyon.
Exactly.
That always blows my mind.
Yeah.
How such a vast and intricate landscape
Mhm.
could be created by the power of water.
It's a testament to the persistent erosive power of water over millions of years.
Wow.
And then there's deposition,
Okay.
which is the process where the sediment carried by water
Yeah.
is eventually deposited somewhere else,
Okay.
creating new landforms.
So erosion is about breaking things down,
Yeah,
and deposition is about building things up.
that's a great way to put it.
Okay, cool.
Think about river deltas.
Yeah.
Those fertile areas where rivers meet the sea.
Mm-hmm.
They're formed by the deposition of sediment carried downstream,
Okay.
creating rich ecosystems.
It's fascinating how water can both create and destroy,
Right.
shaping the earth in such dramatic ways.
Yeah.
And what about freezing and thawing?
Okay.
How does that play into all of this?
Water expands when it freezes, right?
Okay.
Well, when water seeps into cracks in rocks
Yeah.
and then freezes,
Okay.
it exerts pressure on the rock,
Uh-huh.
causing it to break apart.
Okay.
This process, repeated over time,
Right.
contributes to the weathering of rocks and the formation of soil.
So even the seemingly simple act of water freezing and thawing can have a profound impact on the landscape.
Absolutely. It's a constant process of change, driven by the forces of nature, and water is at the heart of it all.
Wow.
And speaking of nature, we can't forget the crucial role water plays.
In Earth's ecosystems.
We've talked about oceans absorbing heat and regulating climate. But what about the other ways water impacts life on Earth?
Well, for starters, water is the foundation of all aquatic ecosystems.
Okay.
Oceans, lakes, rivers, and wetlands are teeming with life.
Right.
From microscopic organisms to massive whales.
And those ecosystems are incredibly diverse, right? We've got coral reefs, kelp forests,
mangrove swamps, and so much more.
Each of these ecosystems provides habitat, food, and shelter for countless species, contributing to the incredible biodiversity we see on Earth.
Exactly.
It's like a chain reaction. The water supports these diverse ecosystems, which in turn support the intricate web of life that makes our planet so unique.
Precisely. And then there's the role of water in terrestrial ecosystems.
Okay.
Plants need water for photosynthesis.
Right.
The process by which they convert sunlight into energy.
And animals depend on water for drinking, cooling, and many other bodily functions.
So it's not just about the creatures living in water. It's about life on land as well.
Exactly.
Everything is connected to water in some way.
Exactly. And that brings us to the delicate balance of freshwater resources. We've talked about how most of Earth's water is salt water, leaving only a small percentage of fresh water available for terrestrial life, including humans.
And that fresh water is unevenly distributed around the globe, leading to water scarcity in some regions and abundance in others.
It's a critical issue, especially as populations grow and demand for fresh water increases. And of course, climate change is exacerbating these challenges, altering precipitation patterns and intensifying droughts in many parts of the world.
It paints a rather sobering picture.
It does.
Knowing how essential water is for life. And seeing how climate change is threatening that balance is concerning, to say the least.
It is concerning, but it's also a call to action. We need to be more mindful of our water usage to conserve this precious resource and to advocate for policies that protect our freshwater sources.
We've touched on this before, but it's worth reiterating. Small actions can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
Fixing leaky faucets, taking shorter showers, choosing drought-tolerant plants for our gardens, and supporting sustainable agricultural practices can all contribute to water conservation.
Absolutely. Every drop counts, especially as we face the growing challenges of climate change. But before we dive into the climate change discussion, which we'll save for part 3, I want to circle back to the Quran's perspective on water.
Yes. We discussed the spiritual significance of water in part 1. But how does the Quran address the practical side of things? Like water conservation and responsible stewardship.
Well, the Quran emphasizes the importance of balance and moderation in all aspects of life, and that extends to our relationship with water. It encourages us to use water wisely, to avoid waste, and to be mindful of our consumption.
It's about recognizing that water is a gift, a blessing from Allah, not something to be taken for granted or exploited for personal gain.
Exactly. And the Quran also highlights the importance of social justice, of caring for the vulnerable, and ensuring that everyone has access to basic necessities, including clean water.
So it's not just about individual responsibility. It's also about collective action. About creating systems that ensure equitable access to water for all.
It's about recognizing that water is a shared resource, essential for the well-being of all creation, and that we have a moral obligation to protect it and share it fairly.
That's such a powerful message. It connects the spiritual aspect of water with the very real practical challenges we face in managing and distributing this precious resource.
And it reminds us that our actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for the entire web of life. The way we treat water reflects our values, our understanding of our place in the world, and our commitment to future generations.
It's a sobering thought, but also an inspiring one.
I think so, too.
It gives us a framework for approaching these challenges. A reminder That we can choose to act in ways that honor both the divine and the scientific truths we've been exploring.
And that's what we'll continue to explore in part 3.
Okay.
As we delve into the intersection of water and climate change, looking at the specific challenges and potential solutions for a more sustainable future.
I'm really looking forward to that conversation.
Me too.
We've covered so much ground already.
Yeah, we have.
But I can sense there's still much more to uncover.
There is, and I think these discussions are crucial.
Yeah.
Not just to gain knowledge, but to inspire action.
Right.
Because understanding water is one thing, but protecting it. That's where the real work begins.
And that's a challenge we'll face in our final part. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of water.
It's been a journey.
It really has.
Exploring everything from, water's molecular structure to its spiritual significance in the Quran.
We've seen how water shapes landscapes, supports ecosystems, and sustains life on Earth.
And we've touched on the challenges of water scarcity and the importance of responsible stewardship.
But now we need to face a reality that's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The impact of climate change on this precious resource.
Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's happening now, and it's having a profound impact on water resources around the globe.
We're seeing more extreme weather events.
Yes.
Like intense droughts and floods. Which disrupt water availability and threaten communities and ecosystems.
The delicate balance of the water cycle is being disrupted. Warmer temperatures lead to increased evaporation, intensifying droughts in already arid regions.
And at the same time, we're witnessing the rapid melting of glaciers and ice caps. Contributing to rising sea levels, putting coastal communities at risk.
It's a complex and multifaceted problem. Climate change acts as a threat multiplier, exacerbating existing water challenges and creating new ones.
So what does this mean for the future of water?
Well,
what are the potential scenarios we might face?
If we continue on the current trajectory, the outlook is concerning. As global temperatures rise, we can expect more frequent and severe droughts, leading to water scarcity for agriculture industry and human consumption.
And those droughts will likely trigger conflicts over water resources.
Absolutely.
Especially in regions where water is already scarce.
Water stress can lead to social unrest, economic instability, and even displacement of populations. We're already seeing these patterns emerge in various parts of the world.
And on the other end of the spectrum, we have the issue of rising sea levels, which threaten to inundate coastal cities and displace millions of people.
Coastal communities are facing a double whammy. Rising sea levels and more intense storm surges, which can cause catastrophic flooding and damage to infrastructure.
It paints a rather bleak picture.
It does.
It's almost overwhelming to think about the scale of these challenges.
It is daunting, but we can't afford to give in to despair. We need to shift our focus from fear to action. There are things we can do both individually and collectively to mitigate the impacts of climate change on water resources.
So what are some of those solutions? Where do we even begin to address such a complex problem?
Well, first and foremost, we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. That's the root cause of climate change. So addressing that is paramount.
That means transitioning to renewable energy sources. Improving energy efficiency. And reducing our reliance on fossil fuels.
Absolutely. But beyond that, we also need to adapt to the changes that are already happening and will continue to happen. This means investing in water infrastructure that is resilient to climate change.
So things like drought-resistant crops, more efficient irrigation systems, and improved water storage and distribution networks.
Exactly. We need to rethink how we manage water resources, taking into account the changing climate and the need for greater flexibility and adaptability.
And that adaptation needs to happen at all levels. From individual households to national governments and international organizations.
It's a collaborative effort. Everyone needs to play their part in building a more sustainable and resilient water future.
And this brings us back to the importance of education and awareness.
Absolutely.
People need to understand the interconnectedness of climate change and water resources and the role they can play in making a difference.
We need to foster a culture of water conservation and stewardship, starting from a young age. Empowering communities with knowledge and resources can lead to innovative solutions and a greater sense of responsibility.
It's about changing mindsets, shifting from a perspective of water as an unlimited resource to one of water as a precious and finite gift that needs to be protected and shared.
And I think the spiritual teachings we've discussed can play a vital role in that transformation. The Quran emphasizes the importance of gratitude, moderation, and responsible stewardship. Values that are essential for navigating the challenges of a changing climate.
It's about recognizing that water is a blessing from Allah. Sorts of life and purity that should be treated with respect and reverence.
And it's about acknowledging our interconnectedness with all of creation, understanding that our actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for the entire web of life.
So even in the face of these daunting challenges, there's reason for hope.
There is.
By drawing on both scientific knowledge and spiritual wisdom, we can find ways to adapt, to innovate, and to build a more sustainable future for water.
It's about harnessing the power of human ingenuity and compassion to create a world where water is cherished, protected, and shared by all.
And as we conclude this deep dive, I'm left with a profound sense of both responsibility and optimism.
Me too.
We've explored the wonders of water, the challenges we face, and the potential solutions that lie before us.
It's been a journey of discovery, reflection, and inspiration.
It really has.
And hopefully it's sparked a renewed appreciation for this remarkable substance that sustains us all.
May this deep dive serve as a reminder that even small actions can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Let's all do our part to honor and protect the precious gift of water. Ensuring a vibrant and life-giving future for generations to come.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay thirsty for knowledge.